Welcome to today's land auction via AuctionCast, the most informative method to buy and sell land at auction. I'm your host, Tyler Tissue with LandProz, and I'm joined by these two experts on each side of me. First, I want to introduce Keith Allen on my left here. Keith, why don't you tell the crowd and our online bidders what you do and a little bit about yourself.
All right, appreciate it, Tyler. My name is Keith Allen. I'm a 20-year veteran. Kind of sounds weird to say that, but I've been in the ag industry for over 20 years. I'm the owner of a business called Allen Seed Source, and basically I do consulting for farming operations on placing the right seed to the right soil in order to try to maximize profitability per acre. And it's the nice part about my job is I get to actually help farmers with making sure the land goes into the next generation. So
no, I know you know how to make these farms better than where they started. So excited to break this one down to you here in a little bit. So over on this side here, I have Craig Borchard with Ascent Financial. Craig, why don't you tell the crowd here and our online bidders a little bit about yourself?
Sure. You know, like I said, my name's Craig Borchard. I've been a business and financial consultant for 20 years, and at Ascent Financial, we help farmers and agribusinesses with transition plans and estate planning, and help advise them on significant transactions.
Excellent. Hey, I'm looking forward to breaking this farm down with you as well. So today, we are going to be selling the Booker farm. This is 152.06 acres. It's located in Goodhue County, Minnesota. This farm is located in Section 2 of the Mineola Township. So, but before we get this started, and for those of you who aren't familiar, we like to give what they call the land market update. And this is where we show you some of the highlighted farms that have sold in not only the Midwest, but also a state level and a local level. And the first one I have to bring you today is my home state of Iowa in Sioux County. This is 73 acres, and it sold for $30,000 per acre. And another one in Sioux County, Iowa, 55 acres that sold for $23,700 per acre. Now, Craig, I mean, so from an asset class, how does this work? How does that look from a macroeconomic situation there, and how it's applying to today's economics here today?
Sure, Tyler. So, you know, we're about 18 months into a bull market right now, and we really haven't seen any evidence of it flattening out in farmland. You know, and really what's driving this is inflation and increased commodity prices, and that's pushing up rents and land values right along with it. We anticipate that this is going to continue until those trends change.
Yeah, it certainly hasn't looked like it's slowed down in any way, shape, or form. The market still continues to trend up, and we're seeing that in a couple others here. There's a couple other farms that we have that sold in Martin County, Minnesota. It was 77 acres, and it sold for $14,700 an acre, and another one in Brown County, Minnesota, that's 120 acres that sold for $15,600 per acre. So obviously great sales as well. Now we got a couple of local sales that right here in Goodhue County, Minnesota, 37.61 acres, $13,500 per acre, and another one in 36.42 acres, and it sold for $13,000 per acre, and that was just on November 2nd. So, Keith, so you're in the local market here. I mean, is this something that you're seeing trending on your end, and is this something that that some of your local operators are excited about? What are they kind of saying about here in this market here today for you?
Oh, well, I think what we're seeing a lot of right now is what's driving it is, like you said earlier, it was commodity prices. We're fortunate to have a lot of ethanol plants and processors right here in this area. The other thing I think that's the untold story is higher rent costs are kind of driving some of this too, because if you're going to have to pay more money for rent, you may as well be owning it. And I think a lot of producers are looking at some of these properties and wanting to diversify their portfolio a little bit, and it's easier to diversify when you add some property into your portfolio.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I think across the board, and even looking at all these sales right here, we're definitely seeing that the market is still trending upwards, despite what we all know is some higher inflation, a little bit higher interest rates. We're still seeing these prices still continue to climb. So, first, before we get started, I want to welcome all of our online bidders and those in our live audience here today. I want to point out a few things to all of our viewers online. Make sure you are aware of the documents that are posted about the farm. They're located on the Documents tab, and for our live viewers, there are supplements on the check in the table. These include the tile maps, fertilizer invoice, and the soil tests. If you'd like to view a copy of the purchase agreement, that is also available to you. And if at any time you'd like to bid by phone, have any technical issues, or have a question, please call the number on your screen. We have our auction manager, Brian Haugen, ready to answer your questions and take your bids over the phone. Let's send it over to Greg, and let's get this auction started.
Hey, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm Greg Jensen. Brian Haugen is our auction manager. He's kind of the king and the guru of LandProz, and I've got my young son, Sonny Jensen, is going to be working the rink. I'm going to talk a little bit about what we're doing here before we talk about the property. You know, when I first started selling auction sales in 1973, I stood out in the middle of the field. All the farmers came around and brought their pickups in, and you know, if it was 20 below, that's where I stood, and they stayed in and had their coffee. But because of what's going on around the world today and the interest in farmland, this is why we have something like this for our online bidders or people that are a long ways away. I mean, it's innovative, and believe you, it's a long ways from where I started. But I really enjoy it, and I think it really does a lot of good for the seller, exposes your property, also for buyers to see what's going on around the world. So therefore, I just kind of wanted to explain what all the hoopla is and all the cameras and all the things like that, so that you know that we're here trying to do the best job for you as buyers and sellers at LandProz Auction Cast. So with that, I'm going to kind of move in. We're going to talk about the property that we're selling. If you have any questions, or if you'd like to look at the purchase agreement or any of the documents, Brian is standing there, Sonny's out there. They will go get them for you. We have online bidders. We perhaps have some phone bidders today, and we have a lot of people watching. So we're going to kind of go through the terms and the conditions. I'm going to talk all about it. And Kelly Bolin is over around the corner too. Kelly, he's a big, really a great guy in our organization. So let's start out. We're selling 152.06 acres, plus or minus, if you look at your brochure. Tillable acres are 134.72. The CPI is 88. For those of you that don't understand CPI, zero's low, 100 is high. So when you get 85, 88, 90, you have got a great, great piece of ground. Very productive. Of course, the possession is open for 2023. The corn base, 78.8, yield 172. Soybean base is 55.8 acres, 52 yield. Taxes, 77.20. And in Minnesota, taxes are current. So 22 taxes are payable in 22, 23, and 23. So you're going to pay the 23 taxes. You will have possession of this farm to either farm it or rent it out or whatever you would like to do. Flip over to the next page. You got your soil map. Then I'm going to flip over and we're going to talk about the aerial right now, and we're going to talk about a few other things before I get to the end. First of all, I'd like to say there's a fertilizer bill that the new buyer will assume, $15,402. It's all here. It's all documented on this property. The new buyer is going to pay that. Is that correct, Brian? That'll be in consideration. Next of all, we're going to look at the aerial on this. Okay, there hasn't been a wetlands determination, but and you will have to do that, but the NRCS said most of those trees, if you want them, they can be gone. I think it's just a real small area of wetland. So we want to talk about that so that everybody, and if you need a map, we can certainly supply it. Right over there. Tile maps, we've got tile maps, what we have for tile maps. If you need one, anybody out there needs one, I believe we probably have them online. We're going to take a look at those. Now, let's talk about the terms and the conditions of this auction sale before we start it. The method of the sale, bidding will be dollars per deeded acre unless otherwise indicated by the auctioneer. Deeded acres may change because of the survey or other factors. It won't here. In which case, the total sales price will be adjusted to reflect that. Seller reserves the right to accept or reject any and all bids. The auction company and the seller reserve the right to preclude any person from bidding if there's any concern as to person's credentials or fitness to bid or enter into a contract. Agency, LandProz agents and Auction Cast are representing the seller. Taxes, 2022 taxes will be paid by the seller. You will pay the 2023. The conditions, the sale is subject to all easements, restrictions of record, covenants, and leases. Each bidder is responsible for conducting their own inquiries and due diligence efforts at their own risk concerning the subject property. We are selling the property here as is, where is, with no warranties. Immediately following the contract and title, immediately following the conclusion of the auction, the highest winning bidder will enter into a real estate contract purchase agreement, provide funds for the earnest money to be deposited with the real estate and auction company. Seller will provide updated abstract and owner's title insurance with clear title at their expense. Sale is not contingent upon buyer's financing. Now, there's two ways we've got abstracting and we have title insurance in Minnesota. A lot of states just have title, they've gone totally to title insurance. So I don't know, Brian, is there a choice here? Do we have an abstract or do we? What's that? It will be title insurance. Okay, we'll clarify that for you. And that's excellent. The closing date is going to be on or before January 25th, 2023, unless otherwise if something comes up. A lot of times when you're doing transactions, you might get held up at the abstractor. You might have something happen, a little hitch in the giddy up somewhere, but that's the shoot-to date. The terms here today are $50,000 down, non-refundable. The balance due on or before January 25th, 2023. There will be a 2% buyer's premium, which will be added to the bid price, which will determine the total purchase price. Any statement made day of the auction takes precedence over printed material. All information provided herein was obtained from sources deemed reliable, but neither the auction company nor the seller guarantees its accuracy. Okay, now I think we're kind of ready to go. I talked about the tile. I talked about the fertilizer bill. Is there anything that I left out, Brian? Yeah, they'll enter into a purchase agreement today. We'll take a check. It'll be put into our trust account. It stays there till closing. So anyway, with that, I'm going to start out. We have I believe an online or a phone bid. Just a real quick start. I got 7,500 to start it. Who'd give 85? Hot 75 and now 8,500. 75 and now 85. Would give 85. Would give 85. Thank you. Now but a 95. At 85 now 95. Would get 95. Would get 95. Would get 95. Would get 9,500 out of bid. 85 right here. Now 95. At 95 now would get 95. 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 Would give 85 now 95. 85 now 95. Would get 95. Would get 95. Would get 95. Would get 9,500. 85 now 95. At 85 now 95. Would get 95. Would get 95. Thank you. Now 10.5, sir. 10.5 now 11.5. At 10.5 and now 11.5 now 11,500. I got 10.5 right here on the floor. Now 11.5 at 11,500. Now we get 11.5 at 11.5. Back there, you're out, sir. At 11.5 would give 5 up at 5 up at the online bidders. You're out at 11.5. 10.5 right here. Now 11.5. At 11,000 now, but a $500 now we get 11.5. 11,500 now we get 11.5. We get 5 up at a 5 up at a 5 forward. At 11,500. At 11,500 now we get 11.5. At 10.5 here now 11.5. At 10.5 now we get 11,500 now we get $500 bid for it. At 10, how about 11,000, sir? At $11,000 now we get 10.5. Now 11. At 11 now but 11 now we get 11 now but $11,000 now we get 11,000. At $11,000 now we get 11 now $11,000 bid for it. 11,000 10.5 now 11. Got $11,000 now we get 11 now but 11 forward up at 10.5 now 11 at 10.5 right here now 11 at 11 now but 11 forward up at $11,000 bid to buy him at $11,000 now we get $11,000. Now I know you guys, a lot of you guys are registered. I know that you're interested in buying this farm. You know, today is the day we're going to sell it. And I have a club. I talk about it quite a bit. It's a wished I would a club. You get up in the morning. You said, I wished you would. I tell you what, I had a sale this morning, and we didn't even get out the door. And the contending bidder said, you know what, I should have bid more. I said, Tommy, I said, the sale's over. It's done. I told you that. We worked and worked and worked, and we got him to bid a little bit, and he wanted to bid, and then he said, I should have bid more. It was right next to him. Why didn't he bid more? I don't know. But like I tell everybody, we can't hold a gun to your head. All we can do is conduct the auction sale. It's up to you to bid on it. And if you really, really like this farm, that's exactly what you should be doing. Now, I got 10.5 right here. Who give $11,000? 11,000. Hey, but $11,000 now, we get 11,000 now, but at 10.5, 11. 10.5, now 11. At $11,000 now, we get 11 now, but $11,000 now, we get 11 forward. At 10.5, 11. At 10.5, now 11, now we get 11 now, but $11,000 now, we get 10.5. Now 11,000. At 11, a bit of buy, but $11,000 now, we get 10,500. Now 11,000. At 11,000, now Brian, that guy is out. They're out back there. At 11,000, you better go talk to him a little bit. At $11,000 now, we get 11 now $11,000 bid. 10.5, 11. 10.5, now 11. At 10.5 and now $11,000 now we get 11 now but $11,000 forward. 10.5 and now $11,000 now we get 10.5. Now $11,000. I got 10.5 now 11. At 11 a bit of buy, I'm at 11 now we get 11 now but 11 now but help yourself here. At 10.5 11. 10.5 11 now we get 11 now but 11 now 10.5 now 11,000. At 10.5 now $11,000 now we get 11 now but $11,000 now we get 11 for it. At 10.5 and now 11. At 10.5 and now 11. Now Brian, do you want to have a little recess right now? Do you think we should? I like to have a little recess because I'll tell you what, it's a big deal when you're buying and selling a farm. So we're going to give you a little time to think about it. We're going to take a couple of minutes. I'm going to turn it back over to my colleagues here. And Tyler, you want to take it away? We'll talk a little bit about something. And then we are going to give those people a little chance to run their calculators, call whoever they might have to call their wife or something, or their wife might have to call a husband. Or maybe they don't call anybody, right? They just go ahead and do it.
Hey, whoever they got to call to get permission to buy the farm. Hey, thanks, Greg. So it looks like we got some spirited bidding going on. We start off at $7,000 an acre. We're all the way up to $10,500 an acre now. So it looks like we got an excited crowd here. But Keith, I want to come back over to you, being the agronomy expert. What is it about this farm that excites you, that some of the details about this thing that you as an operator as well would want to farm this farm?
Well, as I said before, this is my backyard. I mean, I'm a huge fan of the Mount Carroll Hershey complex soils. That comprises close to about 64.5 acre, or 64.5% of the acreage that's currently sitting on this ground, along with 15% of it being Vasa silt loam. What that tells me is when we get a lot of moisture, it's going to hold on to its moisture. But especially when things start getting drier, that's kind of critical for this area because that's when we need the moisture, obviously, is when we're trying to raise a crop. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about this piece of property is if we get down into the low areas, as you can see over on the western side of the property, there's an old tile line that was put in 1960, which drains going out to the east or out to the west, and there's two outlets that are going that direction. The other thing that really excites me about this property is there's also a bigger set of tile line that's running right over on the eastern side more, and what that's doing is dropping out, and there's two more tile line outlets that are coming out on the south side. So it really takes care of the drainage from subsurface, but then on the above ground, we have plenty of slope to it in order to get that rain away, especially in those high rain event kind of situations.
Yeah,
so,
and it's an 88 CPI farm, so obviously now we got good drainage to go along with it. No doubt this should be a good producing farm, consistently every single year.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the other thing that we never really talked about back when I was going through college is we never really went through the CEC or the cation exchange capacity, which is really kind of, I think, tells the whole story about what the ground is capable of doing, especially with this. I mean, I'm looking for something between about a 13 to about a 30 for a CEC, and currently this thing is, a good chunk of it is sitting somewhere around that 13.5 to about a 14. So there's a lot of opportunity for this, and it's like anything in agriculture. The more data we have, it gives us a better baseline to be able to set things up and be able to make a piece of property really productive.
Yeah,
so.
That's awesome piece of advice right there. Awesome expert stuff. I appreciate it. We're going to take a quick break right here, and then we're going to get right back to the auction as we got Greg waiting back for us.
1, 2, 3. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you again, I want to thank you on behalf of the family for coming out here and LandProz and Auction Cast. We're going to have a sale here today. When we're done, we're going to have a new owner. So if you want to own this farm, you can't buy it tomorrow. You won't even be able to buy it at 5 o'clock tonight because I am going to be gone, and so is everybody else. We're going to sell this farm today. That's right. We're going to sell this farm. So, with that in mind, if you're thinking about buying this farm, today is the day. Now, I had 10.5. I got 11 online. Now, would you give 11.5, sir? 11,500. I had 11,500 on it. Now, would you give 500 on it? Now, would you give 11,500? 11,250. At 11,250, now with a 200, now with a 50, 50, now with a 50, 50, now with a 54, now with 11,250. At 11,000, now 250. What do you get? 250, now 5. Maybe to 5. Brian, your man's online is out. Online is out. I got 11,250. Now 5. At 11,200, now with a 50, now buy 5, now with a 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 buy forward. 11,200, now 50, now 5. At 500, a bit of buy, I'm going to buy, I'm going to $500, now we get 500. At 500, now we get 11,250. 250 now 5. Hey, but 5, I'm gonna buy 5, I'm gonna buy 5, I'm gonna buy. I just want to show of hands in here. I'm just kind of curious. How many people in here own farmland? How many people own farmland? I'm serious. I want to know. Raise your hand up if you own farmland. Has farmland been good to you? Yes. Every one of you. That's why you're here. I'll tell you, farmland has been good to a lot of us. Land is a great investment for your family, for your future, for generations to come. That we're all here glued to one thing. What is it? Land. That's what it is. Now, you came here, a lot of you came here, you got a bidding number, you're thinking about buying this farm. I'm going to tell you, can you tell that close? $250, $500, $1,000? I don't think so. I really don't. So when we're done here today, we're going to have a new owner, and I would advise anybody that's interested in this farm today to jump on it. So I got $11,250 right here. Who give $11,500? 500, I don't know, I would give 500. Now, it's okay for neighbors to bid against each other, too. Them guys back there were talking. They said, well, I ain't going to bid against my neighbor. And the other one says, well, go ahead. So we're waiting for you. $11,250. Now 500. Hey, but a $500 now, would you give 500 out of it? Oh, they were just kidding, of course. 500. Hey, but a 500 now, would you give 500? I'm going to buy 500. I'm going to buy 500. I'm going to 500 out of bid. $11,250 right here. Now 500. At 500 now, would you give 500? I'm going to buy 500. I'm going to buy 500. I'm going to buy 500. I'm going to buy 5. Brian, the online guy is out. Phone people are out. I'm on the floor here. $11,250. Now 500. Hey, but a 500, I would give 500, I'm going to buy 500, I'm going to buy 500 out of bid. $11,250 now 5. Hey, but a 500, I'm going to buy 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 500. Hey, but a 500 now, would give 500, now would give 500. Got $11,250 now 5. Hey, but $11,250 now, but a 500 now, would give 500, 500. Hey, but a 500, but a 500, but a 500. But I tell you, we're kind of getting down to the wire here. I'm thinking about having another little recess. So, in fact, I'm not even thinking about it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to have one right now. We got $11,250 right here on the floor. And everybody that's online or if you're watching, I'll tell you, if you want to buy this really great farm with a really good CPI, I'd be getting on it right now. So there we go. Now we're going to have a little recess, and we are going to, then when we're done, we're going to sell it. So I'm going to turn it over to the fellas here doing a great job of informing us. And I really like this because, you know, information is power. Information really helps people make decisions. And I know maybe if you're sitting here, you're looking at it, you're going, oh my gosh, this thing is just unbelievable. Look at all the cameras they got. Look at this, look at that. I'll tell you, LandProz and AuctionCast have gone the extra mile to make it better for you and your families in the world of farmland and land. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to you guys if you got something to say.
No.
I'm going to take a little recess.
No, we appreciate it, Greg. And just like he's alluding to, you know, we've got, you know, not only just, you know, the bidders that are here today, but we've got a bunch of online bidders, you know, that are constantly analyzing these farms from an investment standpoint, what makes sense for them to go and buy a farm and breaking down the numbers. And that's why we have you here, Craig, is to break down the financials for this farm and why it makes sense for an investor, you know, to come and buy a farm like this. What do you have about this farm that you could tell us about the financials about it?
Sure, Tyler. You know, when I look at this farm, you know, I look at first, what do I think it'll rent for? And when I look at that, we look at how does LandPro, when they manage farmland for investors, they use a flex lease where, you know, they take the gross production and multiply that by a third, and then that's the rent.
So whatever their total gross revenue
Yep,
there.
whatever the total revenue is. So we multiply the yields by the price, and for the price we use an average of the spring and the fall RMA price. This year it's $6.38. You know, and then that brings us to, you know, with the yields at this farm, we use the county average of 200.7 for corn, and that gives us.
So this isn't specific to exactly this farm, but it's probably pretty close.
Pretty close.
We're on the county
I think it's
yields,
pretty close
you
in
know,
the county average
averages.
yield, and that gets us to about $422.55 of rent. If LandProz was managing this farm for an investor, that's what they would have paid in rent this year.
And so just to be clear, so that's a flex lease.
Correct.
And that's a third of the revenue based on the
gross
county
revenue.
yield averages.
Correct.
Okay.
Based off the county yield averages, in reality, it would be the direct yields for the farm.
Yeah.
Yep. So when we kind of back that into how does this perform over time, you know, looking at as commodity prices increase over time, you know, that's been about 6% per year over the last 50 years. And land, you know, we use an assumption of 6.5% over the last 50 years. So looking at that with a flex lease, how does that play together? And we kind of get to that 15.57% projected annual total return over 10 years.
Oh, wow. So that's so we're taking your lease, we're taking
Yep,
the
lease, the appreciation, the increase in rent through commodity price increases over time. How all that together gets us to that 15.57% projected return.
Well, I've said it before, but I just wish I was in land instead of my IRA right now.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to go back to a break here, and then we're going to get right back to the auction.
I'll tell you what, the recesses, I really like them. I've always liked them from the beginning because, we're not selling pots and pans. We're not selling livestock. We're not selling antiques. We're not selling off the junk wagon. We're selling a big, beautiful farm. And big, beautiful farms take time. It's not like I say, it's pots and pans, just bang, 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 bang. A livestock, you run them through the ring and a bang, and bang, and bang, and away you go. A farm is a little bit different because it's something, it's part of our being. We live on Mother Earth here, and a lot of us here own part of Mother Earth, which is a blessing to be able to own and afford to buy land and own it. And it's a blessing to be able to sell it. We live in a country where we can buy and sell land, and we can do things like that. So we always take time when we're selling something like this because we don't want anybody to walk out of this auction, whether they're here personally or whether they're online or on the phone, and say, I just didn't have enough time. I needed more time. So we're here to give you time if you need the time, but sooner or later we're going to have to, we all got to go home, right? So if you're thinking about buying this farm at auction here today, I know it's fun to sit back in the weeds and lay down and say, well, I'm just going to wait till the very last minute. But we might as well get on with the show because we're going to sell this farm. Now I've got $11,250 right here. Who'd give $11,500? At $500 now, would you give $500 bid? $500 now, would you give $500? Up to $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500. On $11,250. Now $5. At $500, up to 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 $500. That back row, they look like they want to bid. $11,500, but they're not bidding. $11,250, now $5. At $250, now $500, up to 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 $500. $11,250, now $500. $500 now, would you give $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500. At $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500 bid. $500, at $500, $11,250 on the floor, $500. At $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500, up to $500. You're done, we're done. At $11,250 now, $500. Up to $500, 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 up to $500. At $500 now, would you give $500 forward, up to $11,250. Now $500. At $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500 bid? $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500, up to $500? I know there's going to somebody walk out of here today, and they're going to say, I should have bought that farm. And there's only one person that's going to buy it. Man or woman, they're going to buy it. Everybody else is going to go home. They aren't going to get it. I got $11,250, $500. At $500 now, would you give $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500. $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500. Brian, how about your person? At $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500 bid. $500 now, would you give $500. $250 now, $500. At $200 now, but $50 now, but $500, up to $500, up to $500 bid for it. At $250, $11,250 is the bid. Now $11,500. $500 to bid. $500 now, would you give $500, up to $500, up to $500, up to $500. You guys get plenty of coffee or donuts or something to drink over there? We got a lot of stuff. I'll tell you, them pumpkin bars are really good. I had one before we started. All right, there we are, $11,250, now $500. Hey, but $500. We're giving you all the time in the world. At $500, if you're not going to bid anymore, I'm going to sell it. Got $11,250, now $500. Hey, but $500, up to 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 $500 forward. At $500, at $500, at $500 now, would you give $500 now, would you give $500 bid for it? At $11,250, now $500. Hey, but $500, up to 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 $500. At $500, at $500. Hey, Brian, how's your man doing? At $500, is he going to get in or is he going to get out? $500, he's all done? All right, I am going to wrap it up here. We're going to ask everybody one more time. Everybody online, you got one more chance here. I'm going to give it about 1 minute, and it's going to be gone, gone, gone. 11,250. Now 500. Hey, but a $500 now would give $500 bid. Now would give 500. 500 now would give 500. How about 11,350? I'll try that one time. I got 11,250. Now 350. At 300 down with a 50 down with a 50 down with a $50 bid. 11,250 now 350. At 50 now would get 350. 300 down with a 50 down with a 50 down with a $50 bid. If you're done, folks, we're done. At 11,250 now 350. 11,250 now with a 300 down with a 50 down with a 50 down with a $50. At 50, how you doing over there, Kelly? At 350. At 300 down with a 50 down with a 50 down with a 50. I suppose they just came. I bet they came for the pumpkin bars. That's what it was. At 250, now 350. At 300 down with a 50. I'm going to make a new owner right here. At 350, one more time. Are you all done, Brian? At 50, now we got a phone call. At 250, now 350. At 300 down with a 50 down with a $50 bid for it. At 250, 250 now 350. At 300 down with a 50 down with a 50 down with a $50 forward down with a 350. 11,350. 1,100 down with a 300 down. 11,350. 11,300 down with a 50 down with a $50 bid. 2.5 right here now 350. At 350 down with a 300 down with a 50. Is he all done? At 350, we're done. 11,350, one more time. At 11,300 down with a 50 down with a $50 bid. 11,250 bid right here. Now 350. If you're done, we are going to sell it. What do you say? 350, 350. I'm going to sell it at 350, 11,250 right here. I'm going to let it go, Brian. At 11,250 now, 350. Sold right here at $11,250. Let's give that gentleman a hand and his family right there, right in the front row. Absolutely. I'll tell you, you got a great farm. I'll tell you, we got a purchase agreement. Brian's going to sit down with the buyers and the sellers. They're going to sign it up right here today, and we'll get the earnest money. And we want to thank everybody for coming to our auction sale here today, whether you're online or whether you're here. And we wish you all a very Merry Christmas and a prosperous New Year. I mean, after all we have to do is, live and love our families and have a good time. And that's what we got to do here in the United States of America, and that's what we're going to do. And we appreciate everybody coming here, and we appreciate the buyer, and we appreciate the sellers hiring us to sell their property. So if you got any auction needs or farm needs, you can talk to any one of the LandProz agents or our brokers, and we will help you out to the best of our ability. You got anything else to add to that, Brian? Everything's good? Make sure all the cookies and donuts are gone because we don't want to take them home. We don't want to do that. All right, and with that, I want to thank our guys up here. You did a great job again, as always. And I hope you people liked what we're doing here because this is what we're going to do in the future to better fit the buyers and the sellers of our country. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye. Greg Jensen, over and out. Thank you, family. Goodbye. Have a good day.
Hey, thank you very much, Greg. Appreciate you, bud. So once again, thank you to all you bidders, who participated with us today. Especially want to thank our sellers for trusting us to sell their property. I do want to point out we have a couple more auctions that are going to be coming up on December 28th. We'll be auctioning off the Brule Farm at 10 a.m. And we're also going to be auctioning off the Forum Farm at 2 p.m. that same day. So folks, if you're thinking about buying or selling, keep LandProz at the top of your list. You can connect with our team at landproz.com or the number on your screen at any time. Thanks again for joining us here at LandProz Auction Cast, and have a great rest of your day.
A streamlined way with great team members to serve sellers and buyers.
Sold $20,500.
Live broadcast of an auction that we bring to them.
Sold. Property's choice. You can buy parcel 1, parcel 2, or parcel 3.
$5,000 offered. What do you give me? $5,500 and $5,000 on here. $55, $6,000 and $6,000 on here.
You've always heard in the real estate world, location, location, location. Well, that also comes into play when you talk farmland.
Increase in value, and its value is only going to increase over time. The numbers I said before are at 6.5%, which is the 50-year average annual appreciation in farmland.
An auction cast method with all of these wonderful things brought to the seller and buyer.